Ich habe keine Ahnung, warum das 5 Sekunden gegangen ist. Aber willkommen zum wunderschönen neuen Video. Wir schauen uns heute von ambiguousamphibian Art Only in Sims 1 an. Ambiguousamphibian feiere ich mega krass. Ich liebe die Tor-Solo-Playlist. Die ist geil, könnt ihr euch mal anschauen. Aber ansonsten, der Typ macht immer so ein bisschen ähnlich wie Let's Game It Out. Er spielt ein Spiel, ewig lang, macht irgendein Bullshit darin. In dem Fall will er halt nur mit Kunst in Sims 1 überleben. Und ich finde ihn ziemlich funny. Der streamt auch auf Twitch, by the way. Könnt ihr mal vorbeischauen. Und wir starten jetzt.
In The Sims, quitting your job and pursuing a creative passion for a living is an exciting adventure. But is it possible to survive living off the sales of your paintings alone? And what if you began the game as a starving artist without a dollar to his name? I decided to put this idea to the test. Every Sim has a set of skills. Body, creativity, cooking, logic, mechanical, and charisma. Some of them help with career tracks.
Und ich muss sagen, in letzter Zeit auch sehr geil, der spielt ja des Öfteren so richtig alte Games. Wie zum Beispiel Sims 1. Oder, wie heißt das Game? Das, wo man seinen eigenen Park bauen kann. Ich bin gerade lost.
Others improve the quality of meals. And some of them, like creativity, can be used to actually earn money from household objects outside of the working world. For example, a Sim who's good in mechanical skill can craft garden gnomes and sell those. Or the subject of today's test, a really creative Sim can stay home from work and earn money by painting all day, then selling the paintings instead of showing up to a job. Meet Jebediah Dingleberry, hopeful artist, embarking on his exciting journey without a dollar to his name. His only possession? A single easel.
Geil, geil. Er startet jetzt wirklich mit nichts außer diesem Gestell.
When you start off with your Sim, all stats are 0. Your needs are met. It takes about half a day of labor to finish a painting, during which time you gain artistic skill. Seems like killing 2 birds with 1 stone, if it weren't for the fact that the first painting sells for $0. Because we had no creative skill to begin with. After a full day's work, 24 hours, we sell our second painting for 3 simoleons. But still not enough to survive by any means. Life is tough, and artists who are unable to entertain anyone have it even tougher. Unfortunately, this means that Jebediah will inevitably die of starvation. The rules of this challenge are 1, no jobs allowed, and 2, no spamming the genie lamp because it makes the game too easy.
Ja, the Genie Lamp.
Fortunately for every new resident.
Falls ihr das Video nicht gesehen habt, das war quasi das Video von ihm, von Sims 1, bevor diesem Video.
A magic man delivers some supplies, worth a bit of money. Combining this with the vast $3 profits we earn from our paintings, we renovate our home and prepare to meet death bravely. Although this generation of Jebediah the First couldn't survive on art alone, what if Jebediah Dingleberry had left behind an heir? Meet Jebediah Dingleberry II, almost exactly the same as Jebediah Dingleberry I, suspenders and all. Perhaps aside from the new and unique selection of hat. Picking up right where his father left off, let's see if Jeb II can outpace his father in the economic rat race and achieve his own version of the so-called American dream. Move out from his present state of living into a slightly less bad
Safe stirbt er auch.
one, ready to hand it off like a baton to the next generation. Unfortunately, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and what started out with the best intentions quickly devolves into repetition of his father's mistakes. Jeb II, motivated by his father's grave, which he keeps beside his hand-me-down easel as a reminder of what will probably become of him, too, paints only a little better than his father and is still stuck in the economic trap inherited from his dad. But there's a silver lining. We can keep relying on the fact that we get a free delivery of magical furniture every time a new generation inherits the property. So although Jeb II will also die, he too will pass down a couple $100 more worth of furniture
Bruder, it's so sad, the story.
to his own heir. So it continues, and maybe you can feel it deep in your own bones too. That timeless struggle to become better, to build on the foundation your own father left for you, and your father's father, and your father's father's father. You know how this story goes. Jeb III's life was brief and regrettable, but not as brief and regrettable as his dad's.
Er hat eine Siamkatze?
And with every line, there's always that strain of hope that somehow keeps it together. Like 50 Cent once said, get rich, or die trying. So the generations pass. If we cannot evolve by passing down our genes, we can at least pass down the material wealth to our children, adding foundational meaning to an otherwise bleak existence punctuated only by the creation of several mediocre paintings. Jeb III is haunted by his ghostly ancestors' apparitions, eating into his dreams and stirring him from an already tumultuous
Zu geil.
slumber. It's not long before he joins his ancestors in an insignificant tomb. Jeb IV wears a hard hat to shield himself from economic adversity and trades out the grill for a fridge and a shower. After good fortune from winning the lotto, you'd think that would be enough to meet all his needs, right? Wrong.
No.
Garden flamingos make for poor conversationalists, and Jeb IV also dies of loneliness and starvation.
Bro, warum sterben die alle?
Albeit with more than his father started off. But at least Jeb V has a chance. No surprises here, a valiant effort. And mind you that I'm now in my 5th sim in a chain of people who are unable to feed themselves through art and take their supper with the graves of deceased relatives for social
Bro, wie die immer rumlaufen, die Geister, so geil.
companionship.
Das sieht so funny aus, weil die einfach alle gleich sind, nur andere Hüte tragen.
But at the very least, Jeb V was the final nail in the coffin.
Oh.
Pun intended. He achieved fancy living and set the last foundations needed for the generation that would ultimately put her
Also 5 Generationen, Leute, braucht es, um reich zu werden. Jetzt wissen wir es.
all together. Jebediah Dingleberry VI.
Never mind.
It all comes down to this. Finally, a descendant of 5 generations of Dingleberries who has a leg up on the competition. And Jeb VI has something his ancestor didn't have. Man's best friend. Social companionship that will help him leap where his forefathers fell. It's not long before he's creating works of art selling in the 2- and 3-digit price range. Though haunted by multiple poltergeists, he remains focused on his tasks, and his work doesn't suffer when his house is in disrepair. A blessed man. Jeb VI uses this to achieve maximum creativity, a feat unparalleled by any of his ancestors. And he uses this to make over 300 simoleons a day. No easy feat. But how would he make up for his ancestors' sacrifice and restore the family name? Or would his ancestors' unexpiated tears be forgotten, only for their gray hairs to wither and be lost down in the underworld?
Bro.
And so it was on that day that I embarked on a quest. The only way to valiantly restore our fortunes would be to find a wife and have offspring as numerous as the sands on the beach or the stars in the sky, and exploit them for their creative labor to obtain unfathomable riches, justifying the expense paid by my ancestors with their lifeblood. Fiesta time. I threw a party as a ruse to woo the local women, and how I did
Smarte Idee.
swoop among them. And how
Bella.
there was Persephone Slagathor, or Tiffany Burb, both attractive, but veteran bores lacking in cosmopolitan substance. I cooked and I hosted, and I searched until it was love at first sight. Cassandra blew it. Was it her executive sunglasses or her sharp, chrome plastic hairdo? Whatever it was, she was hot. Instant wife material. Well, I'm lying. It actually took 4 in-game weeks of constantly inviting her over, doting after her needs because people in The Sims 1 were needy. But let me tell you, that month flew by like a minute. It wasn't long before I
Oha, Alter.
popped the question 5 times because she kept refusing, and eventually
Einfach 5-mal Heiratsantrag.
she agreed. 1 time is all you need, and we hit it off splendidly, like 2 peas in a pod. The bride came with a sizable dowry that added to my painting commissions. But did she know I was secretly using her to create an army of young artists, rivaled only by the tragically short careers of 90s child actors, to avenge the deaths of my ancestors and prove that artists could make money
Safe. Genau das hat sie sich gedacht.
from nothing? Time would tell. Baby time. Kissing, kissing, kissing. When a mom and a dad love each other very much, and the dad wants to abuse the family unit to force his children to paint and earn money, a baby is made. Young Dingleberry. I took care of the child. and for 3 days I boxed out Child Protective Services whenever they attempted to confiscate my infant. I know this is getting really convoluted, but I wanted to find out if there was any feasible way to earn a lot of money, and I'm talking a lot of money in The Sims, from art alone. We're not talking about just getting by, we're talking about abundant wealth. Even if that means I need to raise 8 children and lie to them about how much I love them while subtly brainwashing them into becoming artists.
So geil, so geil. Genau deswegen liebe ich Amphibious seine Videos. Die sind so geil. Oh mein Gott. Die Idee ist auch schon nice, muss ich sagen. Und jetzt die ganzen Kinder für Sklavenarbeit in Kunst zu benutzen.
So, seemingly overnight,
damn.
I role changed from artist to manager. Why waste my time painting when I can train other painters to do my work for me? It's basic leverage, folks. Simply raise one child, then train the first child to raise the next child you have for you. Soon, like a developing country, we were rolling in kids, raising other kids, all the while somehow possessing savant-like genius in their artistic ability, able to fetch hundreds of simoleons for their creative work, further solidifying my income and making me a magnate, an emperor in his own right. But at the same time, it wasn't easy. I had to keep my offspring penned in and prevent them from failing out of school or joining the military, or even just deal with the nuisance of Sonny, the tragic clown, a strange and dystopian entertainer who makes you the opposite of happy. Anyway, it was getting to be a bit much, I have to say, and I thought I had proven my point. The answer is yes. You can definitely make a lot of money in The Sims as an artist without a boss, but you'll probably go on a roller coaster of death and sadness, and sacrifice at least a few of your ancestors laying down a foundation, or inherit a small nest egg from which to start. But if you play your cards right, maybe you'll just meet that special someone, and then it's off to the loony bin with you. Well, I'm Ambiguous Amphibian. A special thanks to my patrons, who are in...
Ja, danke an Ambiguous Amphibian. Und ja, falls euch das Video gefallen hat, mir hat es sehr gefallen. Ich fand es ziemlich geil. Auch die Idee dahinter und wie er es umgesetzt hat. Sehr, 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 sehr fucking awesome. Ihr könnt euch ja gerne selber anschauen. Der erste Link in der Videobeschreibung. Ansonsten sehen wir uns morgen wieder. Lasst gerne ein Like da. Bis dahin, Leute. Haut rein und Surf!